Hello students, how are you? Hope so your revisions are going well and everything is going good. So, today we are going to have our rapid revision route topic, time of supply. The topic of our today's rapid revision route is time of supply. So, time of supply under GST. First of all, let me tell you why this topic is there, time of supply in the GST. Say, for example, there are no 100% of the transaction in which you receive the money as soon as you make the supply. Say, for example, I make a supply of goods of rupees 1 lakh. I am not going to receive it right now if this is a credit supply. Yes, credit sales. If it is a credit sales, I am not going to receive the money right now. I will receive the consideration, say, after 1 month, after 2 months, like this. Like this, yes. So, what the taxpayer will tell? Though the supply is made today, but I will file this return related with this supply 2 months after when the payment will be received, or I will pay the tax 2 months after when the payment will be received. If this happens, there are number of transactions like this. So what will happen with this tax mechanism? What will happen with the revenue of the government? So for this, the government inserted the revenue. The government inserted this topic of time of supply under GST to fix the month of which this supply is, so that accordingly the person making the supply can pay the tax in the return of that month. So basically, time of supply fix the time, the month of the supply made. So continuing with the topic, time of supply. This topic comprises of section number 12, 13 and 14. Section number 14 is dealt at the final level. It's not in this level, intermediate level. In this level, we are going to study section number 12 and 13. So basically, section number 12 talks about time of supply in case of goods. And section number 13 talks about time of supply in case of services. So yes, let's start with the first one, time of supply in case of goods. Now here we are going to learn the two section 12.2 and 12.2 and 12.3. 12.2 and 12.3. Now 12.2 talks about time of supply in case of goods in case of forward charge. In case of forward charge, it means in case of forward charge we have to apply the section number 12.2, and in case of reverse charge we have to apply section number 12.3. Now 12.2, what 12.2 talks about: in case of forward charge, time of supply of goods will be earliest of the following. Earliest of the following: earliest of date of issue of invoice, last date of issue of invoice, and date on which supplier receives the payment. From this, the first one, date of issue of invoice by the supplier. It means the date putted by the supplier while issuing the invoice. Yes, the date of invoice. Of which date this invoice is. It is very simple. The date given by the supplier while issuing the invoice, that will be the date of issue of invoice. Next, last date of issue of invoice. Sir, what can be the last date of issue of invoice? Now here comes section number 31 in Act 31. 31 talks about time limit for issue of invoice. Yes, under the Act, time limit for issue of invoice. Now, 31.1 talks about goods. 31.2 talks about services. Now, we are dealing with the section number 31.1 first. Now, see here. Section number 31.1, time limit for issue of invoice in case of supply of goods. Number 1, where there is involving a moment of goods, where there the supply involves the moment of goods, what will be the last date of issue of invoice? The last date of issue of invoice will be before or at the time of removal of such goods for supply. Means when I am making a supply and removing the goods for supply, so at the time of removal of such goods or before such time, I can issue invoice, and this will be the last date when I should issue the invoice, when I should issue the invoice. In other cases, in other cases, when the delivery of goods are making available there to the recipient, this will be your last date to issue of invoice. If your invoice should be issued on this date or before this date. Again, next point, continuous supply of goods. What do you mean by continuous supply of goods? I give the example of a milkman. Daily, the milkman in the morning or the evening comes to the house. He gives you the milk every day, and he takes the payment monthly at the end of the month. After providing all the goods all over the month, he will issue a statement, periodical statement each and every month, and according to the statement, you are going to make a payment every month. So in such cases, what will be the time of supply? No, what will be the last date of issue of invoice? The last date of issue invoice such cases will be before at the time of issuance of periodical statement or receipt of periodical payment, whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier. Either you have paid first or either you have received the periodical statement first. Whichever you have received first, that will be the last date that you have issued the invoice. In case of goods sent on taken on approval basis, it means sale or approval basis. Say for example, this happens in the normal transaction of the goods, business transaction. You can take the goods, if you like it then pay for it, otherwise return this goods. Sale on approval basis. Now what can happen in such cases? So when you sell a goods on approval basis, the person will approve and say that I like the goods and I will going to keep the goods. It means the supply has done. The supply is done. Now when the supply is done, that will be the last date of issue invoice. Yes, when the approval is being received by the supplier. Yes, but what if the person is not giving the approval? If the person is not giving the approval, how much we should wait to fix the time of supply, to fix the last date of issue of invoice? How much we should wait? The GST authority says that the supplier can wait the whole life, but we are going to wait only for the period of 6 months. See, only for a period of 6 months. From the date you have made the supplies, you have sent the goods on approval basis. From that day to the 6 months will wait. After the day lapse from the 6 month, say from the 6 month have completed, the next day from the 6 month, that will be your last day you should have invoice issued by the supplier. Got the point? So these are the time limit for the issue of invoice by the supplier, means the last date of issue of invoice by the supplier. And if the invoice is not issued within this time limit, then the last date will be fixed and it will be here, the last date of issue of invoice. Next comes the date of payment, the date on which the payment is received by the supplier. Among this, whichever will be the earlier will be the time of supply in case of goods, in case of forward charge. Now, coming towards notification number 66 by 2017. What this notification says? This notification says that in case of advance payments received, in case of advance payment received where supply is about to make, where the supply is pending, in that case apply notification number 66 in 2017, and TOS will be the earliest of date of issue of invoice and last date of issue of invoice. Now here no date of payment will be taken in decision making of time of supply, only the last date of issue invoice and the date of issue of invoice. According to this two, you are going to make the decision what will be the TOS in case of advance payment received where notification number 66 by 2017 has been applied. Yes. So we have done with these two things, the normal provisions and the notification. Now there is one clarification and amendment in this attempt. Yes, this is a fresh amendment, that while applying notification number 66 by 2017, you should not consider supplies made by a registered person by way of specified actionable claims. In that case, you should not consider notification number 66 by 2017. You should make the decision of TOS with this supply by using the normal provisions. Yes. So this is all about the forward charge section number 12.2. Now we are going towards section number 12.3, the reverse charge. In case of reverse charge, in case of reverse charge of supply of goods, the TOS will be earliest of date of receipt of goods, date of payment, and 31st day from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier. 31st day from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier. Among these three, whichever will be the earliest will be your TOS in case of reverse charge of supply of goods. Now, this is all about the TOS of goods of section number 12.2 and 12.13. Now going towards section number 13.2 and 13.3. Again, starting with 13.2. Forward charge. in the cases of forward charge in case of supply of services. Now if the section is 13, it is of services. Now in that case TOS will be what? Again two cases. Check that invoice is issued within the time period or invoice not issued within the time period. Now, here the two words are common, within the time period and within the time period. So, what is the time period? For this, we are again going towards section number 31. Now, this is what time period is. Section number 31 2. Time period in case of supply of service. When the invoice should be issued. The last date of issue of invoice. Number 1, before or after the provision of service but within 30 days from the date of supply of service, and 45 days in case of insurance, banking, financial institution including NBFC. Say from the date you have provided the services, from that day within 30 days or 45 days as the case may be, or before provision of such service, you should issue invoice. If the invoice is issued before provision of service or within 30 days or 45 days of provision of service, it will be termed as invoice issued within time. Yes, here the term is invoice issued within time. See here, invoice issued within time. This is the time. This is the time period of issue of invoice, before the service or after 30 days or 45 days within that days from the provision of service. If issued within this time period, then we'll term it as invoice issued within time. But what if the invoice is not issued within this time period? This will be termed as invoice issued not within time period. Invoice issued not within the time period. Now in case of continuous supply of service, in case of continuous supply of service, invoice should be issued. Case number 1, if in under the contract the due date of payment is given, the due date is given, so that due date, so an invoice should be issued before the due date of payment given as per the contract. If there is no due date given in the contract, then the due date of payment is not known. Then before, when the supplier service receives the payment, check when the payment is issued. Before that, the invoice should be issued. If issued before that, it will be termed as invoice issued within time. If issued after that, it will be termed as invoice issued after the time. Yes. And the last one, sir, we are not knowing the due date of payment. We have not received the payment. So what we should do? In that case, your last date will be the date of completion of the milestone event which is linked with the price, linked with the payment. The event that is linked with the payment, that event happens, so the happening of that event will be your last date of issue of invoice. Now if your invoice is issued within such time period, it will be called as invoice issued within time period. If invoice is issued within time period, then apply this clause, otherwise apply this clause. So check whether your invoice is within time or not. Say, we'll talk first the case number 1. Invoice is issued within time. If invoice issued within time, then your TOS will be earliest of the following: date of issue of invoice by the supplier or date of receipt of payment. If invoice is not issued within time, then your TOS will be earliest of date of provision of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. So this is what section number 13.2, forward charge in, so TOS in case of supplier services under forward charge. Now coming towards reverse charge, section number 13.3, reverse charge. Earliest of the following will be the TOS, date of payment or 61st day from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier. 31st day in case of goods, and now here 61st day in case of services. This is the difference, number 1. And there was also date of receipt of goods, here that is not given. Here only two things: earliest of date of payment and 61st day from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier. In case of reverse charge, section number 13.3, in case of supply of service. Now when we are discussing about the word payment, receipt of payment, again receipt of payment can be derived as earlier of date on which the payment is recorded in the books of amount accounts, or date of payment is credited debited to the entity's bank account. Earliest of these things. Check when the payment is recorded or the payment is debited or credited to the bank account. Among these two, whichever will be the earlier, that will be called as date of payment. Date of payment. Wherever the date of payment term has came, date of payment, date of payment, date of payment, date of payment. Date of payment means this thing. Earlier of these two things. Now, this is what section number 12 to 13, 12 to 12 3, 13 to 13 3 talks about. Now we are going to study 12 4 and 13 4. Now, see, 12 4 and 13 4. 12 4 and 13 4 talks about the vouchers. Say, for example, case number 1. If I gave you a voucher and the voucher clearly tells that with this voucher you are going to, on redemption of this voucher, you are going to get a one veg cheeseburger on the Burger King store. Yes. So, what is this case of identifiable? Is the voucher identifiable that what you are going to get? Yes. Identifiable? Yes. So what will be the TOS in that case? In that case, the TOS will be the date of issue of the voucher. See, I gave you the voucher today itself, and the voucher is saying that you are going to get a vegetable cheeseburger at the Burger King store, and you are going to redeem it in the next week. You're next going to the store to the next week, and you are going to have the burger, eat the burger. So that is the date of redemption next week. But what is the date you have been given the voucher? Today, date of issue of that voucher. If the voucher is identifiable, that TOS in that case will be the date of issue of the voucher. Date of issue of the voucher. Now, other cases, if not identifiable on the voucher, say for example I gave you a voucher and I have told that on the Burger King store you are going to have anything which is under 100 rupees, anything which is going to be under 100 rupees, this thing you are going to have. So the voucher is identifiable? No, the voucher is not identifiable. Means other cases. In that case, TOS will be date of redemption of the voucher. It means the next week when you are going to visit the store and when you are going to redeem the voucher and have the goods, that will be your TOS. That will be your TOS. Now this is section 12.4 and 13.4. Going towards section number 12.5, 13.5 residual cases. It means when you are not able to determine TOS according to the above provisions, according to the earlier provisions given above, when you are not going to determine TOS as per the other provisions, you are going to come here for the determination of the TOS. Now, what is this? Case number 1. Check that whether periodical returns is required to be filed. In case of a taxpayer, if periodical returns are required to be filed, so in that case TOS will be the due date of such filing such return. Due date of filing of such return. In case no return is required to file and you are not able to determine TOS in other provisions, then what is the last provision, residuary provision? Date of payment of tax. The date on which the tax will be paid, that will be your TOS. Now coming towards the next provision, 12.6 and 13.6. Now see, this talks about TOS in case of addition in value. Addition in value by way of interest, late fee, penalty, etc. Say for example, today I made a supply of goods of rupees 1 lakh. So I made supply today, but I am going to receive payment after 2 months. After 2 months also I am not receiving the payment. So what I am going to charge? I am going to charge interest, late fee or penalty. When I made the supply of this 1 lakh goods, the supply TOS, time of supply of these goods of rupees 1 lakh has been generated. TOS has been generated. Yes, for this 1 lakh, TOS has been generated earlier. But after 2 months, when you are having an additional amount by way of interest, late fee or penalty, for that amount, no TOS has been generated. Say for example, on this 1 lakh rupees, you are receiving 10,000 as late fee or penalty or interest. On this 1 lakh you are receiving 10,000 extra. So what is the total value of supply? The total value of supply is 1 lakh 10,000. Among this 1 lakh 10,000, on the 1 lakh TOS is generated. Yes, but what about this 10,000? Also 10,000 is also value of supply, a part of value of supply. Tax is going to be calculated on this amount. Yes, so TOS need to be generated on this amount. So what will be the TOS? TOS will be the provisions according to section 12.6 and 13.6. So the TOS will be the date on which this addition in the value is received. on which this addition is value and received. So when this 10,000 amount will be received as interest late fee or penalty, the date of receipt of such amount will be the TOS. Will be the TOS. So this is all about time of supply. So what are the section involved in this chapter? Section 12.2, 12.3, 13.3, 13.2, and again 12.4, 13.4, 12.5, 13.5, 12.6, 13.6, and again two more sections are there, 13.1 and 13.2. This all the sections are covered in this chapter of time of supply. So this is all about time of supply. We have completed this topic, and for the next topic, revision of the next topic, you may refer to our next upcoming videos. So stay tuned with our YouTube channel, subscribe the channel, and also like the video. So bye bye to all of you. Hello students, today I am here with a good instructions to all of you. We are going to launch our regular batches of CA Intermediate Taxation and CA Foundation all subject batch, and that too in 100% English language. Yes, repeating the words, 100% English language batches are launching, say for taxation CA Intermediate May 2025 examination from 21st of September, and CA Foundation June 2025 examination from 25th of September. Again telling you, this batches will be in 100% English languages. Yes, for the prices of these batches and also the demo videos and also the early bird discount, you may contact on the given number 7558597455. You can contact on this number or WhatsApp on this number for making any inquiries, or you want to know the shocking prices of the batch, you can contact on this number. So meet you in the regular batches. Thank you very much.